Imagine you've got this huge code base, right? And you want to switch it to a whole new programming language. Instead of months of just painful manual work, you just hand it over to an AI and say, hey, rewrite this for me. That's the dream. But what happens when that dream turns into a total disaster of weird bugs, bizarre meltdowns, and, worst of all, critical security holes? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into today.
And you know, this quote from InfoWorld just nails it. It perfectly captures that wow moment. You know, when an AI does something so brilliant it feels like a giant leap into the future. But it also captures that moment when the magic just vanishes and you're left holding a big mess. So that's the big question here. Is this dream of just handing off a huge migration project even possible? To find out, we're going to follow along with one developer's real-world experiment to see just how far he could push an AI assistant and what happened when it started to push back. Okay, let's get into the experiment. The mission was this. Take a custom-built blogging system written in Python and migrate it completely over to the Rust programming language. And the tool for this pretty ambitious job? The AI assistant Claude Sonnet. So, why Rust? Well, it wasn't a random choice. See, Python is amazing for getting ideas up and running fast. It's flexible. But Rust? That's a whole different animal. It's known for incredible performance, and this is the key part, a super strict compiler that checks for safety issues before your code ever runs. The developer figured this strictness would basically act as a guide for the AI, giving it instant feedback. A really clever strategy, at least in theory. And this is that first magic moment we talked about. The developer gave his Python code to the AI and just asked for a plan. And get this, the plan it came back with was incredibly good. It knew the exact Rust libraries to use to replace the Python ones. Axum for the web server, SeaORM for the database, even Tera for templating. It looked like a solid professional blueprint. So at this point, you can imagine confidence was super high. The AI didn't just do a dumb line-by-line translation. It actually seemed to understand the intent of the program and was rebuilding it using proper idiomatic Rust. It really felt like the dream was coming true. And here's where the wheels start to come off. That flawless plan on paper was about to slam into the messy reality of actually making it work. So let's see what happened when the magic ran out. So pretty quickly, the developer's life became this loop. The AI generates some code, he tests it, it's broken. He then has to carefully explain what's wrong and ask the AI to try again. This wasn't a one-and-done migration. It was this grueling, frustrating conversation that just went on and on. And sometimes that conversation just broke. At one point, when he asked it to keep working, the AI just completely glitched out and started spamming the console with one word, core, over and over and over again. This wasn't some subtle bug. This was a full-on meltdown that forced him to kill the session and start from scratch. On the front end, it was just one problem after another. It was like a game of whack-a-mole. You'd fix one thing, like the blank login page, only to find the next page was just a placeholder. You fix that, and it turns out the actual login logic is totally wrong. It was this relentless cascade of failures, one after another. But look, as annoying as all that was, at least you could see those bugs. The real killer, the most dangerous failure of this whole experiment, was something way more sneaky. Something silent and invisible, buried deep in the code. Okay, here's the deal. The original Python app had a really simple security check to protect all the admin pages. Basically, if you weren't logged in, you couldn't get in. Simple. The Rust code the AI generated, it almost completely forgot to do this. Pages that could delete posts or change settings were just left wide open. Anyone could get to them. A massive, gaping security hole created by the AI. So after days of fighting this, the developer finally hit pause. The experiment might have failed to create a working app, but it succeeded in teaching some incredibly valuable lessons about what it really means to work with AI. So let's start with lesson number 1. This one is so critical. The bottom line is you can't ask an AI to do a job you don't understand inside and out. The only reason the developer caught that giant security flaw was because he knew the Python code's intent and he knew enough Rust to see that the protection was missing. And this quote from the article just hits the nail on the head. AI is an amazing tool. It can make an expert faster, for sure, but it can't and it shouldn't be a replacement for actual deep down knowledge and experience.
All right, on to the second big lesson learned. I love this way of framing it. Normal programming is you against the computer. It's predictable. But when you add an AI, you're adding this new, unpredictable thing in the middle, the agent. And that totally changes the game. That tedious back and forth loop isn't a bug in the process. It is the process now. And that brings us to the final and, honestly, probably the most important lesson of all. Look, at the end of the day, this is it. The AI might have written that buggy, insecure code, but you are the one who approves it and commits it to the project. You can't blame the tool. The buck stops with the developer. You are ultimately responsible for everything. So we're left with this thought. As these tools get woven deeper and deeper into our work, these aren't just technical questions anymore. They're about accountability, about craftsmanship, and about what our role as human experts really is. It's something to really keep in mind the next time you ask an AI to write some code for you.